What's going on, guys? Thanks for clicking on another video here. About a year ago, I made a video about this machine, and I said that it's a great machine, but you shouldn't buy it. And I think that people kind of misconstrued why I was saying that. People didn't quite understand what I was saying when I said that. So I kind of want to go back through and reiterate exactly what I said, not as far as like, not say exactly what I said, obviously, but why. Kind of go a little more in depth as to why I think it's a great machine, but why I think you shouldn't buy it. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm sure if you're watching this video, it's because you're researching this machine. This machine, as advertised by Lincoln, 35 to 88 amps output, will weld up to 1/8 inch mild steel. That's it. 1/8 inch mild steel is the best, is the thickest material that Lincoln recommends for you to weld. It plugs into a regular old household, 115 volt, 20 amp circuit, just regular wall outlet, the same thing you plug your cell phone into charge. And it has a cold contact safety, which just means it keeps the weld wire electrically cold until the trigger's pressed. But I mean, really, that's it. That's all the features there are for it. And like I said in the previous video, it's a good machine. It does exactly as it's advertised to do. It welds everything it says it'll weld. I have no issues with this machine for what it is. The only reason I say that you shouldn't buy it is because you're going to run into the problem of it not being enough. Eventually, this machine is going to not do everything you want it to do. If you're a young person that's looking to get into welding as a trade, that's how you want to make your money, this is not the machine for you. If you're a hobbyist at home that all you want to do is just little tinkering things around the house, maybe you want to build a gate, a thin tubing wrought iron gate, something like that. Absolutely, it'll do that. You're on a farm. You need something that, you can go 3 miles from your nearest power source and fix a gate. This is the greatest thing. Take a generator out, run this thing off your generator. That'll work. If you have any plan to do any kind of fabrication as far as bumpers, you want to gusset and weld on axles, you want to, anything like that, anything where you're up 1/4 inch plate for a lot of things, this is not the machine for you. This machine right now, if you go down to Home Depot, you can buy it for $279. This machine is a flux core only machine, meaning you cannot do any kind of gas shielding at all. This machine does flux core, and it does flux core only, nothing else. There is no input. Some people have told me that there's a kit you can buy that so that it will, and yada yada, because it's basically a Weld PAK 140 dumbed down. I've never been able to find the kit. I've looked online. If you can find it and you think you can make this machine able to run gas shielding, then great, go ahead and do that. But it's $279 down at Home Depot right now. $279. If you go one step up, it's going to sound like a lot of money, but one step up to the Hobart, we'll call it the Hobart Handler 140. It is gas shielding capable. It does up to a 1/4 inch plate, but it's $529 right now at Tractor Supply. So you're spending another $250, almost twice the price. But I honestly think that it's worth it. It's worth it because in the end, when you want to do more, because it's going to happen, you always have to plan for the future. If you're saving your money and right now you have $280 and all you want to do is you just want to start welding right now, I promise you, save some more money, get the Hobart 140. And I realize it's going to cost you a lot more in the long run, because once you get into a machine that has gas shielding, you have to buy the bottle, you have to buy the gas, you have to have a 220 outlet. You don't have to, but the Hobart Handler 140 you do not have to have a 220 outlet with. It runs off a regular 115 volt wall outlet. But you start getting into the bigger machines, they do cost more. and your medium-sized bottle of, 80-20 argon or 70-30, whatever it is, I can't remember. Argon mix, a medium bottle is about $200. So, but the thing is, if you buy the handler, you have more capability later on. If you spend your money now to buy the machine, you can still do the flux core right now to get going and to learn and to do whatever you want to do. And later on down the road, once you save some more money or whatever, however you got to do it, you can buy the bottle, you can get your flux, your gas shielding, and you can do all that. My biggest point to this video, though, is I want to talk about the two separate processes. Because that's really what's important, is the processes. What does it look like to flux core, and what does it look like to have gas shielding? So I'm going to roll some clips now of some flux core and what it looks like when you're doing it, and some gas shielding and what it looks like when you're doing it. And I want special attention paid to the amount of spatter coming off, the smoke, just the general attitude of what's going on. Now, the next one, that was a flux core. That was a flux core weld. So what we're going to do next is a gas shielded weld. Not going to talk about the machine, not going to talk about any of that. This is strictly about the process and the difference between flux core and gas shielded. That's the whole point of this thing. So I'm going to lay down a gas shielded bead now. Same piece of material. This is just some like 065 wall SST. Now is a shielded weld. So you can see, just by looking at it, how much less filth there is in the air between the gas shielded and the flux core. Now, you can see it in the welds as well. Now, if you look at these two welds here, the weld on the left is the flux core. That's the what do they call it? Inner shielded welding, whatever they call it. The one on the left is flux core. You can see how disgusting it is. It's filthy. It's got berries all over the place. And it doesn't matter how clean your machine, how clean your material is. It doesn't matter how good you are at it. It doesn't matter any of that. This is what flux core looks like. So for you, that's one thing I should kind of touch on, is if you have a stick welder and this is what you're sick of and you think that you're going to go to a flux core and it's going to be better, incorrect. It still looks the same. However, this one on the right, this is the inner shield, or this is the gas shielded. Now, don't make fun of my welds. I know this one sucks. I don't have the machine set up right. It's a little cold to start with, but it gets better. But you can see immediately how much cleaner that is. There is hardly any cleanup that needs done. There's hardly any weld spatter around it. And I didn't even use a dip. I didn't use nothing. I just started welding. I didn't clean this stuff. I didn't do anything. You can see the rust up here and everything. I didn't clean this material. I just started welding. And you can see just the insane amount of difference between the two. And that's honestly my biggest reason for the dislike of flux core, because welding already takes long enough as it is. To set everything up, do your tacks, make everything to where it's going to stay where you want it when you weld it together and do all the things. It takes a long time. It's not a quick process. So to have a flux core or, a stick welder to make that mess that you have to clean up, I mean, don't get me wrong, it works. It absolutely works. It's great. And it holds metal together like it's supposed to. But it creates a lot more cleanup, a lot more work in the end, as to where, yeah, you got to pay more, and it's more expensive over time. But what's your time worth? Do Do you have time to sit and clean welds up like that all the time? Or would you just rather just have a clean weld from the get? You know, like that's kind of your choice to make. Like, when I bought this machine, it was all I could afford. I could barely scrape the money together to get this machine. And I had the time to clean welds up like that. So, now I have a better machine. It lays better welds. Gas shielding is just a better process. And I'm not saying that flux core doesn't have a place, that it's worthless, because it's not. It's a great thing to have. That's why I still have this machine, because when I'm doing little things that I might have time to clean up, or if I don't care to clean up or whatever, I'm probably going to use this just because it's that much easier. I have a nice big expensive welder over there that'll weld 3/8, but if I don't have to use that, I don't have to use the gas, I don't need all that stuff, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to go with this machine because it does what it says it does, and it's a good machine. I don't like having to deal with the cleanup. I don't like having to deal with that junk. I don't like the fact that when you watch the video back, you see that cloud of filth around your head. Much worse with the flux core than you did with the inner shield. And if you look at my table here, all of this over here, this is all flux core. Okay, you see over here on the side where I welded, with the inner shield, there's nothing. All this burn over here, this is all flux core. So that's the other part of it. For me, that's the thing behind going with the inner shielded rather than a flux core, is it's just easy. I don't want to call it easier, but it's faster, it's cleaner. It's just a better process. That's why I said you shouldn't buy this machine. Now, I'm going to say it again. I said it plenty in this video, but I'm going to say it one more time. I'm not saying that this is a bad machine. It's not. This is a great machine. This is a Lincoln Electric machine. It does exactly what it's advertised to do. Has no problem doing those things, and it's a good machine, hands down. But it's limiting. That's the point. It is a very limiting machine. Now, I still have it, and I have a much nicer, much more expensive machine over there. If that doesn't say something, I don't know what will. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the whole thing. It's mainly just the two processes that I'm talking about as to why you shouldn't purchase this machine, because it's only capable of flux core. So if you watched my previous video, I hope this video clears all that up and explains why I feel the way that I do about this machine. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you'll understand why I don't recommend this machine to everybody. That's just kind of my thing. Like I say, I'm just a dude in the garage trying to help other dudes in their garages buy the right equipment first. Because you go spend $300 on this, that's $300 that you could have just left in your pocket to save a couple more $100 to get a better machine. So yeah, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. Hopefully I don't catch too much hate on this video. I caught a lot of hate on the last video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you did. I hope you learned something. And I hope you come back for my next one. So please hit the subscribe button down below. We'll see you all in the next one.